Hey everybody, Bryn here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be continuing on with the Dragon Sicilian Speedrun. Today I'm going to play with the D6 move order, not hyper accelerated or anything, just normal D6. We'll play our normal knight to F6, get knight C3 in, and play G6. So with these hyper accelerated dragons, we are going to be going for our normal setup of just trying to castle. And our opponent is going for the Yugoslav, which is a very effective setup. We'll go knight c6 here. And let's see what our opponent does here. So, for example, if they end up castling, we do have the opportunity to play d5. If they play bishop c4 first, we would not have this opportunity. d5 is the critical move, so I think we should definitely try playing it here. So after d5, if they end up taking, we can just take as well. We're not really too concerned there. And after knight takes c6, we can just capture back and everything should be okay. I believe we're sacrificing a pawn here, but we do get a lot of compensation for it. Let's end up taking on d5 now. And see how things play out. So they could take on c6. Okay, they take on d5, which is not really the way to go, because now we can actually take on d5 ourselves. And anywhere the knight moves, well, we are attacking the a2 pawn, so they should probably take on c6, which they do. But now we're in this position. We're in a great position now, by the way. The problem for opponent is there's open lines against their king, and it's really unclear how they're going to get some sort of attack on our king. They could trade the bishops with bishop h6, but that's kind of short-sighted. Mainly because, well, for example, if I play a move like bishop to f5, I could play taking on h6 first, but I'm going to play bishop to f5, and already we're just starting to take on h6 there. So we'll just take back. If g4, I like the move rook to d8. I don't think that is such a silly idea at all. They could try taking on d8, but instead they play bishop to d3, which also makes sense here. Whose bishop is better? It's an important question to ask. I think maybe theirs is better because it's blocking our activity against the c2 pawn. So I'm going to end up taking that boy. Or girl, you never know, and play rook to c8. Now I'm going to look to play rook f to d8, and again, we have this initiative on the c2 pawn. I'll just play my king back, maybe? Yeah, I'll play my king back, because again, this initiative is quite annoying for my opponent to deal with. So now it's time for b5. If they try taking on a7 here, b4 is just going to rip open their king side. That's not really something that they would want, I assume. You never know. Maybe that is something they're interested in. They're interested in losing the game. But yeah, that's kind of our big idea right now is just to continue to pry against their king. It's a bit harder for them to get started with something like h4 when I believe our attacks are just coming a little bit quicker than theirs. Now with queen d5, do we keep queens on the board? I don't think it's necessary. We could play a5. We could also play something like queen to a6, which is encouraging them to play a move like a3, and then we can play b4, and all of a sudden we're trying to open up lines again. So if they take, for example, then we do always have queen a1 check. I like queen a6 to start. I like keeping queens on. That's all I can say. All right. Is it time for something like b4? I like b4 quite a bit. Just opening up lines again. I don't think it's a bad idea here to play a move like this. Because all of a sudden, again, the C file has opened up. I'll play rook c4 to attack the b4 pawn. They could defend it with a3, but then I have moves like rook to c8, rook c2, queen f6, attacking their king. We're down a pawn, but there's a lot of initiative going on. And again, I am not really sure where their attack is coming from yet. And again, we are threatening to win back our pawn, so then we won't even be down material. And I don't think that is a position they would necessarily want to be in. If they play b5... Okay, they didn't do that. Instead, I'll just play rook c8, where they might be thinking they're being tricky, but I am threatening rook c1 check here. b3 does not work. I still play rook c1 check. And after rook takes, I do take back first. That's important. But because then it's a queen versus a rook instead of a queen versus two rooks. But also importantly here, after rook c1 check, like if they play a3 here, thinking they're being tricky, rook c1 check, king a2, we actually just take on d3 and then take on h1. This is a common puzzle rush type of tactic. So maybe that would happen. Who knows? Instead, queen a3 gets played. Interesting. I could take it. But I think we could do better. And now I'm thinking of moves like queen b5 or queen b7 to just win the b4 pawn outright. I like queen b7 a little bit more, mainly because queen b6 does facilitate something like queen to a5, trying to get some sort of trade in. I don't think it's necessarily a good trade, but I do want to avoid it nonetheless. All right, so b5 was played. And I guess what I'll do is I'll just take the pawn. They can take on e7 or on a7, but the problem is I'm looking at moves like queen to f5 check or rook to c2. Both of which I'm kind of happy to play. Kind of just depends on what they allow me to do here, of course. I'm being quite irresponsible with my pawns, but hey, it's been a while since I've made a speedrun video. I kind of want to be irresponsible here. So yeah, again, queen to f5. Rook to b4 isn't out of the question. I don't think it's the best move though. The moves that are really coming to mind are just these two, taking advantage of the light squares. And the reason why, it's kind of like this intuitive thing of, oh, the queen's on a dark square right now, it's likely to take a pawn on dark squares, and I'm looking at light square attackers. It's more of a coincidence than anything, but even though it's a coincidence, it's quite obvious why that might be occurring. So rook c2 here looks decent. But after rook c2, they could be thinking of playing... I have a knitting needle, by the way. I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why. I have been knitting lately. I have been knitting. There's my yarn ball. Anyway, not important. Maybe just play e6. Because the thing is, if we play rook c2, they're going to play rook d8. Check. If we take it, they take. If we play e6, we're just kind of waiting for a move. And it's unclear what they should do with that extra move. So yeah, I do like e6 quite a bit. And I'm still looking at this move, rook to c2. I see they're still looking at moves like rook d8. Now rook c3 is kind of popping up in my head. They could play rook d8 check still. I don't know if they will, though. I could also play king g7. King g7 just gets out of rook d8 and threatens rook to c2. So that's nice. So I think that's probably a good idea. Important that these squares are covered at the moment. Like if I go rook c2, well, again, queen d4 check is a bit annoying, so maybe I don't want to allow that. Oh, but I do have e5, don't I? I do. So if I go rook c2 here, threatening mate, they go queen d4. I just go e5. That's the answer. Yeah. E5. Maybe they go queen b4. Maybe. But queen b4, I might actually trade queens there. I was trying to keep queens on for a long time, but I don't think it's necessary now. I think the best thing to do is just take on g2. They should probably play h5 and try to pitch the pawn, but I don't know if they're going to do that. And I'm just going to play moves like rook to b8. I think rook to b8 should be played. Yeah, probably rook to b8. And just go for the b pawn as well. And I'm also learning rook c2, which is nice. Kind of similar effect where, again, if h5, I just go there. So instead, they're trying to keep a bit more pieces on. I'll play rook b8. I kind of really want to take advantage of this pawn if I can. So rook c4 might seem like a good move, but I think I have a5. a5. And I'm taking advantage of the fact that the 7th rank, or their second, I guess, their second rank, is quite weak. And how are they going to defend this pawn? So let's see here. I could try taking it immediately. I don't think that's silly. I also like rook b5, though. Rook b5 is just holding everything. It's holding the fort, which is quite nice. They could try rook e4. Then I have f6. Holding on to things just a little bit longer before I try taking the pawn. This pawn isn't really hanging, by the way, because if I ever take the b2 pawn with this rook and I get the 7th rank completely, there's just too many mate threats. And using those mate threats, I can win more material. For example, if takes, rook takes b2. If they go king a1, I have this check immediately winning this pawn. If they go king c1, I still have rook a2, threatening mate and winning the pawn. Excuse me. So, yeah, things are just working out in every way there. I almost missed that there. That would not have been good, I don't think. So let's take it, and we'll just take on b4. And I think we'll just be happy with that. We'll go king f6, I guess. So I'll let them get this pawn, but I'm going to get the other two, I believe. Or maybe h6. Which pawn's faster? So if I go h6, they take, I take, king takes. Then I go g5, takes, king takes instead. They go king c5, h5, b4, h4, b5, h3, b6, h2, b7, queen, they queen. It is my move. I am up an extra pawn there. I can just take this guy, and then I still have these pawns here. I could also try giving some checks first, like queen c1 check, force them to move forward, and then like king d5 or something, and then like maybe just like queen d2 check. If they take it, then I have queen h2, which just wins the queen. That looks reasonable to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm miscalculating things, but all of that looks quite decent. So I'll play g5. Takes, takes. They'll probably, yeah, king c5, and I'll just start pushing. So my idea here was I was going to play queen c1 check, and after king d5, queen d2 check. Okay, so they go here instead, which I don't think changes things too much. I don't have to play queen h2. I can play queen to f5 or whatever as well, which isn't so bad. We'll just have to see how things play out. Let's play queen f4. And we'll slowly go for this pawn. With the king instead. Everything's defended. Right now we're threatening to just take on... We're threatening king g3 and king f3 because I don't know how they keep their queen there successfully. We're threatening queen g5 check right now as well. Wait, are we threatening queen g5 check at all? Takes, king takes f7, king f4, king f6, and actually it's a draw, so we can't do that. But if we play something like f5 first, then we're actually threatening it. We're threatening queen g5 check. Okay, so they go for this. Does that work? Maybe that works. Oh no. Darn. Takes, king g3, king f6, king f4. Yeah, they got it. They got the draw. Darn. I was being a bit... Oh, wait, no. Did they get the draw? No. Sorry, the game still continues. My bad. Now I'm threatening to actually just trade queens. And, yeah, since we can take this pawn, that's quite useful. They should probably play queen h5. It's kind of a funny looking move, but I don't see anything better. And what I'll do is I'll actually move around to e3 first before I consider taking. Maybe that'll help. I'm not sure if it will. But it kind of just like gives them time. Like after they bring their queen to h5, they kind of just have to sit there, I believe. Maybe they could play queen g4. Maybe they can play queen g4, actually. So we'll just have to find out. But I think I've messed this up somewhere and this is a draw now. Maybe I should have just taken on f3. Well, I can't take on f3 immediately before. We'll talk about it in the analysis. That's a bit easier. See, I'll play king f2 here. Oh, yeah. No. Sorry. My apologies. Queen g4 isn't even possible. Should I just give a check? And just hope for the best? That'd be really funny if that's how I win this game. If they just take on e5. That's the one thing they just can't do. That's all. Okay. And then I give a check here. Then maybe I go up here. I just need to like find a way to force them out of choices. Queen b3. I'm not accepting a draw, I'm sorry. And now queen c4. Or queen b1. Let's go queen b1. And then queen d3 check. Oh, I just found out how to do it. I just need to find a way to like take this with check when they're away from the pawn. Yeah. Let's go queen a6. And then queen back to d3. This is so funny. Okay. Queen c4. Check. Queen f4. I just got to keep the game going for 8 more seconds for them. Well, they got the draw. Darn. Okay. Let's figure out what we're supposed to do there. I think there was a better way to play. Somewhere around here. Yeah, it looks like we're winning. But maybe we're not? Okay, let's find this out. So, I thought this endgame was really good. Queen takes f3 is suggested. You know what? Oh my gosh. I thought that queen takes f3 didn't work because of queen takes e5, but there's just queen f5 winning on the spot. They can't take this pawn. And if you can't take this pawn, then the game is immediately winning because we're just up 2 pawns. This is just too much. Oh, okay. Now we figured it out. So that's good to know. Anyways, so just to keep in mind, by the way, if you're not familiar with these types of positions, one of the best things you can do is if you can play d5, then you're quite happy here. And it should give you decent chances to equalize. I'm not really convinced after seeing a certain analysis that it's like it is a comfortable equalization. But this is definitely one of the 2 testing lines. This long castles and bishop c4. Bishop c4 is of course actually even g4 I think is quite strong, but yeah, generally bishop c4 and long castles are going to be the strongest bets. I think Levon Aronian played g4 in a classical game recently and actually won with it. But yeah, so castles, you want to play d5. Generally, the way you'll see things kind of play out here, if I'm not mistaken, is I know it from the white side, I believe. Why is this knight's supposed to be here, right? Or am I going crazy a little bit? Yeah. Okay, yeah, never mind. Okay, yeah. So what's supposed to happen is takes on d5, takes on d5, takes on c6, pawn takes c6, bishop to d4, e5, bishop c5, and you'll see something like this. And yeah, I'm not really convinced that black has like has equalized here. But this is a good way to play if you're playing the dragon. This is probably going to be your best bet. Bishop e6 is probably the smarter of the 2 options. But then there's knight e4, of course. And again, there's going to be some problems for black to solve, which hopefully we'll even discuss in future parts. But you can also play rook e8 if you're a little bit less comfortable on keeping that material. But you're not really scared of something like knight takes d5 and queen takes d5. Just because after all of this, you can play moves like e4 or bishop to e6 and then e4. And you just have this huge initiative against the white king. So that's kind of how you could play these things out. Again, not really too scared of winning that pawn. But anyways, yeah, I think that's going to cover it for this video. Congratulations to my opponent for getting the draw. Very unfortunate for me that I wasn't able to convert such a massively winning position, but I'm a bit rusty. I haven't done these speedruns in a little while, so don't be too mean to me. All right. Anyways, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.